Hollywood goes to a lot of work to make movies, and then they have to make sure that people come to see the movies. So they put out trailers or previews of them. So when you go to pay for one movie, you have to sit and endure through 2 or 3 previews or trailers of upcoming features, ones that are going to come out at a later date, because they want to inspire you to have a desire to go. So you look forward to it, that you have kind of a sense of expectation with still what is yet to come. There's really an art in making a trailer or a preview for a movie, because they have to take just the highlights of it, some of the great highlights, but not give away the whole story or the plot. Give just enough so that you're tempted to want to see the movie, that you're interested, and that you're curious. In the scriptures today, really we hear the same thing. God is very much giving a preview to some characters in our readings in order that they will have a sense of what's yet to come, of what he has in store for them. First, we have Abraham. Abraham is depicted in our own church with the 4th window. It is the knife and the altar kind of that's there. And it is that idea because later in his life, Abraham was called upon to sacrifice his son Isaac in the manner in which God himself was going to have Jesus sacrificed for ourselves. And he was testing Abraham. In the scripture today, in the first reading from Genesis chapter 15, we see how God is inviting Abraham into a deeper relationship. He invites Abraham to go outside, to leave the 4 walls of the home that he knows, and to be able to go outside and to look up into the sky. What a beautiful invitation that he gives to him. He's saying, go out of your comfort zone, again, out of the 4 walls that you know, and out of the warmth of your home, into the cold night of the desert, and just check out and see, look up to the sky, because that's where your future lies. And so Abraham did that, and he said, yes, Lord. Wow, that's pretty remarkable, because Abraham didn't have any children. And Abraham was advanced in years. It's kind of a nice way of saying he was older, that he was a senior citizen, okay? He was advanced in years. But neither he nor his wife, they didn't have any children, so it was pretty remarkable to say, look up at the sky, and you know, on a clear night, when you're out in the country or in a place that's kind of rural, and you look up and you just see all of the stars, that the light is pretty incredible. So I'm sure Abraham was struck by the beauty of a sky maybe that he looked at all the time. But on this particular night, he saw a sky that represented his future. He saw a sky that gave him great hope that he and his wife Sarah, if they followed God's plan, would have a sense of many generations to come. And I'm sure that that filled him with great joy. So God gave him an invitation to go do something so simple. And he said yes. And he was filled with hope for the future, for himself, for his family that was to come, and for all peoples. And Abraham is the father of many nations. He's the father of really the mainstream religions. Abraham has an incredible place in our own history for ourselves as Catholic Christians because of our Hebrew history. But Abraham also was given, once again, just a little sliver of what could happen if he followed God's plan. And he did. You know, Abraham could have said, no, God, I'm too busy tonight. I'm kind of tired. I don't want to go outside. It's cold out. I'm afraid of the dark. There's animals out there. Could have found all kinds of excuses to avoid going outside. But had he done that, he would have missed out on a message from God. He would have missed out on this incredible peace that he was able to now experience. In our gospel reading, we have the story of the Transfiguration, which is really a story of, yes, how Jesus changed up on the mountain, but it's really how other people changed. It's how Peter, James, and John were invited by Jesus to go up onto the mountaintop and to get a preview of what was to come, of Jesus in his glory. And how were they going to accept that? Peter, James, and John are also here represented in our church. By the window with the keys is Peter, James is the shells because he was on the seashore when he was called, and John is with the cross with the two almost like mountains, or it could be pieces of bread as well, because he was there at the time of the Transfiguration, the Last Supper, etc. So Jesus invited them to go with him up onto the mountaintop, and they probably could have had a lot of excuses to say, Lord, I'm busy. Lord, there's people that need me. Lord, I'm tired. It even says that they were overcome and they needed sleep. They could have gone up there to the mountaintop, and it was probably nice and cool and quiet, away from everybody. They could have gone up there and said, wow, this is a great place to do devotions to Our Lady of the Pillow. But they didn't. They went up there and they listened to Jesus, and they got a sense from Jesus about what was still to come. And what was still to come was something so great because it has to do with his glory. They were getting a preview of the resurrection. They were getting a preview of heaven. They were in a cloud where they would see Moses and Elijah and all of these great ancestors of faith that they knew, that they had read about, and they got to really meet them. And when they went back down, they still had a lot of work to do. You know, Jesus didn't say, stay here on the mountain, just stay with me. We're not going back to the real world. It's too difficult, it's too challenging. No. He said, you need to go back because I'm giving you a preview so that you can be strengthened for what's to come, because there's going to be a lot of heartache in the cross, and there's going to be a lot of suffering. But it's all going to be worth it. So they were interested. They didn't go running from it. Jesus gave them just enough to be interested, to be curious, to have a sense of hope for what the future would bring. My friends, today, God is going to speak to each one of us. Now, he may not invite us outside to look up at the sky tonight. He may not invite us up onto a mountaintop. He may not appear to us at the beach or while we're watching the Daytona 500 on TV. But he's going to speak to us in some way. I don't know how that is, and for each person in this church, it's going to be different. But today, God is actively working in your life and in my life. He's actively working in the lives of each person in this church here today. He's going to speak to you in a different way than everyone else, but he is trying to connect and develop a relationship. In some way, he will give you a preview of what is to come. As I said, it might not be real dramatic. Maybe it'll be in just a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Maybe it'll be in a sense of peace that you receive, or a sliver of a moment of grace where you just really feel his holy presence. Maybe he'll come to you today and you realize his presence because of the smile or laughter of a child. Maybe he'll come to you today in just simple silence. But the Lord is going to speak to us today and give a preview, as he does every day. Every day, God is present. God is active. God is loving us. Are we there also to be loved, as Abraham was, as Peter, James, and John were ready to eagerly go up that mountain with him? What is God inviting us into today? What is he giving us a preview of still what is yet to come? How does he want to give us just a little bit of hope? Because he's going to somehow speak to us as he does every day and show us a little bit of the future where the best is always yet to come.